Thank you for joining us, hopefully once again, on another delightful episode of What's Your Favorite Movie? Everyone's favorite movie podcast. This is the show where we talk about film fandom, our favorite movies, and why we love them so much. Can you hear the enthusiasm in my voice? You should, because I'm enthusiastic about movies, and I hope you are too. That's too much joyfulness for the podcast world. You're supposed to be a little more sedate, but I do this like I'm announcing a baseball game or something. But hey, my name is Ed South. Welcome to my little program here. You can follow me on Twitter at Ed South if you would like to find out more about myself and what makes me tick and my love of the Golden Girls. You can also find us on Twitter at WYF Movie Podcast, where we don't tweet about Golden Girls. We tweet about movies. But believe you me, if they ever made a Golden Girls movie, we would tweet about it. And you can reach out to us, if you'd like, at favemoviepodcast@yahoo.com. Just a reminder, as we go into episode 30, if you send us an email, you will be the first person to send us an email. So that's not true. I think one person has. So anyway, shout out to Chris in Florida who sent us an email. And as always, if you enjoy what you hear, please tell a movie-loving friend, share it on your social media. We'll circle around to that back later. Make up your mind later if you want to tell anybody that you were listening to this. So, welcome to the program. We haven't been here in a while. We took a month off unexpectedly, but getting back into the swing of things. It's a little crazy with summer going on and having kids, so, you know, I'm not getting paid to do this, so I took a vacation. Where did I go? Nowheresville. But, so we're going to get back in the swing of things, and Diana's joining us once again in the guest chair. Diana, please say hello to the massive What's Your Favorite Movie audience.
Hello.
Diana, thanks for joining us, because Diana and I just love talking about movies, so with minimal preparation, we were able to throw together a show. That's how good we are, folks.
Something like that.
We're like Hugh Downs and Barbara Walters back in the day.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Diana, let me ask you a Barbara Walters question. If you could be a tree, what kind of tree would you be? What does that mean? And folks, while we were gone, I would like to sincerely thank each and every one of you who reached out, and because we didn't know we were going on a break, and sent me messages like, Ed, where's the show this week? What's happening? And I'd like to read you a list of everybody who sent us a message, either on Twitter or Facebook or email. And here's everyone who sent us some inquiries as to where we were. All right, thanks, everybody. Moving on, let's get into some of the topics, the hot topics that we have for our show today. We're going to talk about books, literary adaptions, right? Is that what we're going to talk about?
I think that was part of the plan.
We're going to be kind of all over the place. We're going to circle around to books in just a minute, but I have a couple of other things we want to get into. First of all, are you like me, Diana? Are you absolutely sick and tired of the Minions?
I'm a little tired of the Minions, I'll admit that.
The first Despicable Me film was good, was enjoyable.
It was enjoyable,
It was
yes.
original, it was crisp, it was a little different than the normal animated fare, and the Minions were funny. I recall seeing that in the movie theater with my family, with the kids, and the scene where I think they go to a mall or something, and the Minions are dressed up like they're incognito, right, and the one's like in German lederhosen or whatever, and they go to the mall. I remember screaming out loud at how funny that is. I don't remember what year Despicable Me was, but cut to what seems like 37 years later, and the constant banana,
yeah, enough.
That is enough. The trailer for Despicable Me 3 I have seen before every theater film that I've gone to since the dawn of time, I feel like. It's just a constant, no. Despicable Me 2 was horrible. Did you see that? You bailed.
I can't remember if I saw it
exactly.
or not. They all run together, and it's...
I would rather stick a fork in my eyeballs than watch Despicable Me 3. I just thought I'd share that with everybody.
But that's the thing now in filmmaking, isn't it? To just,
make you want to stick your...
Well, no, but I mean, keep going back to, the same crap over and over and over again.
Generally, if it's something that I like, I'm all for it. I'll go see, I'll watch 7 Police Academy films, sure. But there's just, I feel like the Minions is a part 2 of the ruining of this country's sense of humor. Part 1 was Shrek, which the original Shrek was funny and it was cute, but it made like farting and burping the funniest thing, and it like made it completely acceptable. So you can go see a G-rated movie and there's fart jokes in it. Like there's nothing funny about toots whatsoever. Even in Alvin and the Chipmunks 4, when Theodore had pizza toots, not funny.
But it's funny hearing you say toots, I will say that.
Aye. So that's just my pointless diatribe on the Minions. Please, for the love of... Where it reached saturation was the last film. Every single square inch of Walmart had at least 3 Minions taped up on the wall or on every product. Minions pasta, Minions cookies, Minions cereal. Oh, the Minions cereal was good, though. It was like a banana cinnamon toast crunch. Yeah, that was pretty good. Anyway. Despicable Me 3 in theaters July 27th. I don't know what it is. Film I did enjoy, that they're also going back to the well repeatedly, and that's okay with me, was the new Pixar film Cars 3. Diana, have you entered the Cars universe before?
I don't know anything about the Cars universe, I'm afraid.
Well, it's a movie about cars.
Oh.
Now, these cars are, as the kids say, anthropomorphic.
Do the kids say that?
They do say that.
Okay.
They're anthropomorphic cars. Everybody else knows what, you know who Lightning McQueen is, and they're cars, they have eyes, they have mouths, okay, right? And they talk, and they do funny things.
To whom are you explaining this?
They race to the audience that doesn't know what Cars is.
Okay.
And so the new movie is pretty good. Now, there's Cars 1, which was fine. Cars 2, I don't know if you're familiar with Cars 2 at all, Diana, but Cars 2, the first one's about racing, car racing. Right. That makes sense. The second one is about spies, and they go off and they're being spies or whatever, and it makes no sense and fits not in with the timeline of Cars world whatsoever. Cars 3 returns to the world of car racing, and it is about cars that live in a car world where they go to car bars and car movie theaters and they watch car TV shows or whatever, right?
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Yeah, what is the thing?
Are the cars born or are they manufactured like real cars? And if they're manufactured, who's manufacturing these cars? Right? This is some deep stuff.
It really is.
Now, the more I thought about it, nonstop since I saw the movie, there's no baby cars ever. I don't think there's any children cars or there's no baby cars. So that kind of suggests maybe they're manufactured. Diana couldn't be any less interested in being part of this conversation that I'm having with myself. But, like, their cars, are they born? I want to know. Like, is there a car hospital? I would love to sit down the head of Pixar, and my first question would be like, sir, thank you for being on the podcast. Are cars born or are they manufactured? I don't understand. And then, like, can you go inside of a car? I mean, they have doors. They're living, breathing organisms in the movie, but they have doors. Can you go inside a car? And then if you are you, like, violating some personal trust issues with the car? I don't understand. I want to know. They don't eat. They don't seem to eat. They drink. They drink oil and gasoline, I guess, or whatever. They go to bars. They have, like, oil drinks. But come on, Diana. No insight whatsoever into Are Cars Born? Or, folks, email us, please, at Fave Movie Podcast with your opinion. Are cars born or are they manufactured? Have I beaten that into the wall enough?
I think so.
I think so, too. One more thing I wanted to talk about was the Hallmark Christmas ornaments that come out every year. I'm a big fan of Christmas ornaments. You not so much anymore?
Maybe not so much.
So the new 2017 Keepsake Dream Book came out from Hallmark of all the new ornaments, which I picked up and was glancing through. And they do traditional ornaments like Santa Claus and snowmen and other boring things like that, but I like to put things that have nothing to do with Christmas on my tree, like Mickey Mouse conducting a band or Indiana Jones or whatever. So they do some cool movie-themed ornaments every year, and they hit the same movies every year. Some of them, Star Wars, Harry Potter. They do a lot of Star Trek ones, Wizard of Oz. So they have some new ones, and then they've been doing like guy movie ones, like Caddyshack. I have a Caddyshack one, and they do the Christmas Vacation and the regular Vacation. But then I was looking through the book this year, and I am so excited about this Christmas ornament, which is going in the prime spot on my tree. I have like one specific spot that's the prime spot for the best ornament. Right now it's my Christmas vacation house that lights up and plays the music. But next year, folks, this year, they're coming out with an airplane ornament from the 1980 classic Airplane. How exciting is that? Very exciting. Airplane. So it's the logo that's on the poster of the plane all twisted up. It has nothing to do with Christmas, and it plays dialogue from the movie. This is sweet. I'm gonna post a picture of this on Twitter for the one of you that follow this show on Twitter. But I'm super excited about this. Doesn't this look awesome, Diana? Look, I'm holding awesome. A thing. It's right here next to a Caddyshack ornament, a new Caddyshack ornament, a Willy Wonka ornament, and then they have a Grease. It's You're the One That I Want. It plays You're the One That I Want. A perennial Christmas favorite.
Absolutely.
They got some Transformers. There's a Beetlejuice ornament. Look at that. Beetlejuice plays dialogue from the movie.
All these are very timely.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome. Yeah. I mean, look at they have this My Little Pony that dates back to the original My Little Pony and a Skeletor one, but they're not really movies, although there is a My Little Pony movie coming out. Dinah, do you want to go see the new My Little Pony movie?
I know about as much about the My Little Pony universe as I do about the Cars universe.
The pony, are ponies born or are they manufactured?
Yeah, I mean, who
would? And look at this sweet Aliens ornament right here, which I'll put a picture up also of. It's yeah,
it's pretty cool.
It's Aliens. What doesn't say Christmas like a JP 5000 powered work loader? I mean, holiday cheer for everybody right there. And they got Deadpool. And I'll tell you what, folks, I hate to say it because I love the movie. Baby Groot is pulling up a close second to Minions. I've had just about enough of Baby Groot. Oh, my Lord. Anyway. So that's that segment of the show, folks. Baby Groot. Do you like the Guardians of the Galaxy?
I enjoyed the first one. I haven't seen the second or anything.
The second one has Baby Groot in it. He's like a regular Groot, but he's a baby.
That's what I hear.
The first... 10 minutes. I don't mean to be so negative and down, whatever, but it's just funnier when you're doing that. The first 10 minutes of the new Guardians of the Galaxy is let's put you and a baby Groot in a box and then just bash the box with a baseball bat constantly. It's so shoved in your throat. Look how flippin' adorable this baby tree is. And that's enough. My analysis on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was that what made the first movie so great was how unexpectedly funny it was. Right. It was just bonkers, funny, crazy, and never lit up. And then going into the second one, I guess it's a combination of you were expecting it, but also they knew it, they could get away with it, so it was too silly and it wasn't as clever and original, I felt, as the first one, which I guess is always the case with a sequel, but...
Often.
Yeah. But, are baby trees planted or are they born? I just don't know. All right. So, Diana said, so we were talking, what can we talk about? And she brought up Clueless, the movie Clueless, which I've been talking about recently. Well, I wanted to go see it. It was playing at a theater in Baltimore, and I missed it because it had weird show times. But we share an affinity for Clueless.
I enjoyed that movie.
It is a good movie. It is from 1995. It was directed by Amy Heckerling. And in this movie... Alicia Silverstone, who I have a huge crush on, still to this day, is a teenage girl, and stuff happens to her, right?
Stuff. Yes.
Doesn't she say that in the movie?
Yes.
Stuff. So, did you see Clueless when it came out in the theater?
Yes, I did.
And you liked it?
I did. I enjoyed it.
So, what got us thinking was, though, that Clueless is... based on a book. Is it based on a book or inspired by a book?
It is actually a pretty faithful adaptation of the Jane Austen novel, Emma.
How does it stack up to the Jane Austen adaptation, Emma, based on the book Emma? Isn't there a movie of Emma with Gwyneth Paltrow?
Right. So Clueless came out in 95. In 96, Gwyneth Paltrow did a version of Emma that...
Was that a Shudder?
I will just say right now, I have no love for Gwyneth Paltrow.
No love for the Gwenny Pals.
No. And
I will tell you, not to interrupt, I will tell you where my downward spiral of Gwyneth Paltrow began. She was the first person that I discovered was famous that was the same age as I am. Her birthday is like 1 or 2 days off from mine, like literally 1973, whatever. And up until that point in time, I mean, this was like 20 years ago, but it's like famous people, they've either been at it a long time or they're famous because they're cute and young. But she's the same age. And that's when I first realized that maybe I was a loser, because I'm no Gwyneth Paltrow.
Because of Gwyneth Paltrow, you realized you're a loser.
Because I don't shove eggs up inside myself or eat bee pollen out of a cured dinosaur egg or whatever she does.
Yeah, she's turned herself into something really monstrous. But
back to Emma.
Yeah, her version, or I mean, not that she was responsible for the movie, she was just in it, but she was in it doing her fake British accent that she loves to do, and it's a more straightforward adaptation of Emma, and honestly I didn't care for it at all. But Clueless is, this very clever, modern retelling of Emma, and which is much more enjoyable.
So tell us, because you what's the word I'm looking for? Literate, and you no, I never read fiction, so I don't know anything about Emma Watson or Thompson or Jane Austen. Jane Austen. What is Emma about? Oh. Emma goes to high school.
Not in the book.
Not in the book. My guess would be, from knowing Clueless is based on Emma, Emma is about a girl who's maybe privileged. Is royalty, perhaps? Aristocracy? Are words that I don't know what they mean.
She's not royalty, but yes, she's privileged and spoiled, and
she realizes it halfway through and tries to give back to the community by making out with her stepbrother.
That was actually not part of the book.
Okay.
But no, she fancies herself a matchmaker, and the book is very convoluted with all of these bizarre pairings that she's trying to put together, and it gets very sort of twisted in there, and then she realizes at some point that she's just making a mess of things and whatever.
Does Claire in Clueless fancy herself a matchmaker beyond? Yes,
Cher?
She does, because she gets the teachers together. I wish I could have refreshed my memory with this film recently, but did not have the chance. Yeah. But I'll probably watch it tonight, because for some reason when I talk about a show on a podcast, I go and watch it that night and go, I should have talked about that. But Clueless is an awesome movie. So yes, so she tries to get Mr. You know names better than I do. Wallace Shawn.
Right. One of her matchmaking attempts is with the teachers, Mr. Hall and
Ms. Twink Kaplan is the actress, but I don't remember her name. Miss Frizzle?
I can't remember the character's name at the moment. Dang. But then, there's also one of one of the more major storylines is her trying to set up her new friend Ty with the
late Brittany Murphy.
Yes, with the popular boy Elton, and
yes,
it turns out that he has a thing for Cher, and it's just a big mess.
Oh, it's a big mess.
Yes.
I love that movie. Number one, it's colorful. Is that a really simplistic thing to enjoy?
No, but it is. I mean, visually, it's
very, very colorful.
It's really fun to watch, you know, with the outfits, and it's very colorful.
And funny.
It is.
There's a great joke near the beginning of the movie that's so remarkably super dated, when they're walking down the hall and they're talking on cell phones, but then they end up being right next to each other.
Right.
And it was like, oh my gosh, they're so privileged and so whatever. And it's like, now everyone does that for real.
Right.
Clueless was a little look into the future, would you say? And Clueless also begat a television series.
Which was not very good.
Which I've seen every episode of, and starred almost the entire cast, which is very unusual for a sitcom.
I don't know about. I mean, I know Stacey Dash was in it,
and almost everybody except Cher and the dad.
Right.
I mean, Brittany Murphy wasn't in it, but the main characters. I guess it was. Well, it was more than just Stacey Dash. The two friends, Donald Faison.
Oh, was he in it? Okay.
Mr. Wallace Shawn was in it. Twink Kaplan was in it. Julie Brown was the gym teacher. That was a good show. Come on, you liked that.
I never really watched it, obviously, because I don't know who was in it, but
But we don't need to go into a whole lot of detail on Clueless because you all know what that movie is, and you should have seen it because it's such a great movie. Diana says, well, that would be a good subject, like movies that you may not know are inspired by books, because there's quite a few, or plays, I guess, in the case of Shakespeare. He didn't write books. He wrote plays.
Right.
What's another one that you would that stands out in your head as an unusual adaptation? Do you think when they wrote Clueless, I mean, did they sit down and say, let's redo Emma as a modern 1995 story, or is it just like, let's borrow this premise and write a story from scratch with that as the premise?
Well, obviously, I have no idea what they had in mind when they initially set out, but it's very deliberate. You know,
Okay.
I mean, like with the names and
Oh,
some of the situations, and it's like I said, it's actually a fairly faithful, version. It's been updated. It's this modern, retelling of it.
And there's no Gwyneth Paltrow in it.
There's no, so that is a huge plus. But yeah, I really appreciate, when people do stuff like that, take something and, just do a completely, make it their own and,
Right.
and do a complete, retelling of it. I mean, of course, obviously there are tons of movies that are based on literature, but, most of them tend to, take just what's on the page and
be straightforward.
Right. I like it when, people take something and then, just
Twist it
change
and turn it.
Exactly.
Yes.
So one of my favorites is the movie Roxanne.
Roxanne!
Not that song, though. But that would be, Steve Martin's modern retelling of the 19th century French play
Cyrano de Bergerac.
Correct.
I know it.
Yes. So how familiar are you with Cyrano? I know you haven't read it, but...
I think you know darn well that my knowledge of Cyrano de Bergerac begins and ends with Roxanne and all things based upon Roxanne. Well, I mean, I know it's about a dude with does he have a big nose in the original book?
Yes.
And he wants to woo a girl.
Right.
Or no, yeah, he wants to woo a girl, but he's embarrassed because he has the big nose.
Right.
And then this other guy, he hires another guy, or this other guy does like the girl also.
Right. So yeah, there's the other guy who is trying to woo the same woman, and
Let's use actor names. The woman is Daryl Hannah.
so yes, if we're talking about the movie, then then the Cyrano character is Steve Martin. The Roxanne character is Daryl Hannah.
Daryl Hannah.
And then
Still hot off her mermaid success.
right. And then there's the third character. In the play he's Christian, in the movie he's Chris, played by what's his name? Rick Rossovich?
No
Did I get
idea.
that right? You don't know. He's done a crap load of stuff, but
What's the Roxanne character's name in the book?
Roxanne.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Fair enough. And
Yes.
what's Steve Martin's name?
So Cyrano de Bergerac becomes C.D. Bales in the movie.
Wow, look at that.
But I love this movie. It's a great little movie. I mean, it's silly, but it's also, there's a lot of smart stuff in it and very funny parts. It does change the ending, thankfully, from the play Cyrano. So I'm sure you don't know this, but
Of course I do. There's a car chase at the end of the book, right?
well, I mean, there have been lots of film adaptations of Cyrano, but they're, fairly straightforward,
Right.
Adaptations. Gerard Depardieu did a French language one. And of course there was the 1950 film with Jose Ferrer.
Fair enough.
But those are, like I said, straightforward. But what they don't include, so spoiler alert here, Cyrano dies at the end. What they don't include is how he dies in the original play, which is so horrifying.
Yeah?
So
Tell us.
He dies when somebody randomly throws a log out of a window and it hits him on the head. And that's how he dies.
Aw.
It's horrible. So thankfully, in the movie Roxanne, there's a happy ending. Nobody dies.
Right.
Roxanne and CD end up together. Or at least that's what's implied. So yeah, I wholeheartedly approve with that ending change.
Well, you and I on this program have talked numerous times about book versus movie versions, and a movie has to have a happy ending almost always, because a movie is a different type. I mean, not always, but for the most part, especially like a romance, a movie is serving a different entertainment need than a book. You're getting deeper into a book story than you are a movie story. And Roxanne was a summer movie, so it's just like light popcorn fare and chill and no logs. Is there a hint to the log in the movie?
No,
Did someone start to toss a log out the window and then they stop? Or?
There are no logs, thankfully, in the film. I don't know. I agree with you to an extent about the, needing a happy ending.
Right. I mean, not every movie has a happy ending, but I would say certainly at least Hollywood movies, 98.3% have.
Right. I've kind of come to appreciate the ambiguous ending. I'm okay if it's not necessarily the,
That's
happy ending. But
when I rip the chairs out of the floor in the theater, if it has an open-ended
right.
ending. I need my endings all tied up nicely. The best ending of a movie is when they are, whatever, like the main story wraps up, and then there's like quick shots of everybody that was in the movie and like what their little happy ending is. Like you see like the math teacher and the gym teacher together snuggling in the corner, and the dog found his bone, and yes,
the dog found his bone.
The dog found his bone. Remember that movie? That was great. Good stuff. And Roxanne hasn't it's not well remembered. Like you don't hear about it as much.
It's really not, and it's a shame.
It was a huge hit at the time. It was a big.
I remember it being promoted heavily. I don't know how it did at the box office.
Oh, we should have looked that up.
Yeah, we should have. I remember I wanted to see it when it came out, but nobody wanted to go with me, so I didn't see it until later.
Because you were telling me earlier, your parents burned out their Steve Martin love a year earlier on Three Amigos.
Right? Yeah, my brother and I had to force our parents to go see Three Amigos. We wanted to see that in the worst way.
Yes.
And my parents were just absolutely did not want to, but finally caved. They were under the impression that the only thing that Steve Martin is capable of doing is slapstick comedy, which obviously he's done quite a lot of that,
especially up to that time. Yes.
I find it unfortunate that a lot of people don't necessarily realize that that's not all there is to Steve Martin.
It's hardly any of what he is now. He does. I mean, now he's like in his late 60s, maybe
he's
early.
Like 70 now.
Yeah. So he doesn't fall down stairs or whatnot anymore. But...
Right. But yeah, I mean, he's actually a very talented writer. I mean, he wrote the screenplay for Roxanne. He wrote L.A. Story. He wrote L.A. Story, which is another one of my... I like that movie quite a lot.
I haven't seen that in so long. Sarah Jessica Parker's in that?
Yes.
His real wife at the time is the female lead, right?
Yes, she was in it, yes.
And Rick Moranis has a little cameo.
Does he?
He's like a gravedigger or something.
Oh, yeah, he's in
one of several films.
That's right,
I
forgot about that.
Together. Loves me some Rick Moranis.
But, Steve Martin has also written, books.
Right.
He
plays banjo eloquently.
Right. He's a very good musician.
Proficiently.
Yes. So, he's very talented, and it's kind of too bad. I find it kind of too bad that, a lot of people, don't realize that.
He was such a big deal in the late 70s, early 80s when he did his stand-up, was like revolutionary, and then The Jerk, and he made like some really crazy, wacky films. But he's mellowed out over time, done less. In the 90s, if you look at his filmography, it's like 3 or 4 serious films, then he'll do some like commercial junk just to kind of keep his status right. or whatever. Do what was the one I said? Sergeant Bilko just came out of nowhere, but I like that dumb movie. And like House Sitter with Goldie Hawn. But he's done a lot of serious films. Other favorite Steve Martin roles, real quick. Do you have any else that come to mind? Do you love the Steve Martins? Everyone loves Steve Martin.
Well, I already mentioned L.A. Story, and then...
Yeah, I need to watch that again. I mean, I haven't seen that. That used to be one... I think my brother and I used to watch that all the time. That would be one we'd pop in quite frequently.
Yeah. Now, why don't you tell us your favorite Steve Martin?
Because you see, I have them written down. Well, of course, number one is The Jerk, which we've discussed extensively on this program before. Just a great film. And then I brought up briefly, but holy smokes, Three Amigos is the great film. I don't know where I was going with that. I was going to say The Nuts, but I don't think that's right. But Steve Martin and Chevy Chase, I didn't know who Martin Short was at the time. This was his first movie. Now when you watch it, it's like the three of them together. Mind blown. Oh, that's such a great film. And it's not it takes a while to get funny. It's like it treats its story very seriously, like, which generally I don't like, but I don't know. It's just a great film. My mom willingly took us to see that. My brother and I and my friend Roy, and we went and saw it. And that was the first film we saw at the brand new Palace 9 theater in our town, where we grew up, where I saw so many movies. And we talked about the theater on here before, but
Palace 9 is now a grocery store.
And they don't show movies at all.
It's a shame.
It is. So back to the story. Other books, other movies that are inspired by books that you might not know. So we got Clueless, we got Roxanne. What else? Or you want me to read off my list? I want to know one of your other ones, because you've got the better...
I've got the better.
You didn't just look them up off the internet like I did.
Another one that you and I had talked about was Easy A.
That's
yes. One of the more recent ones.
Yeah. Emma.
Although that's now almost 10 years old, isn't it?
Yeah. How'd that happen?
I don't know, but...
Emma Stone. That's got a great cast, too. There's a lot of people in it. I can't remember. I remember the cast. It's just like everybody is some...
The people that I like best in that are her parents, Patricia Clarkson and Stanley Tucci. I mean,
nice.
I would watch Patricia Clarkson in anything.
Yeah?
She's awesome.
Isn't Lisa Kudrow in it?
Briefly, she is in it.
Isn't
yes.
Lisa Kudrow in Everything? Briefly, yes.
Yes. Yeah. Thomas Hayden Church, who I usually hate.
Yes.
But, he's okay in this movie.
Thomas Hayden Church is good in movies, but on my list of things scorched into my burning hatred of my soul is the never-ending sitcom Wings.
Yeah. Yeah, I hated him in that. I didn't like that show. For a long time, I hated him in anything that he was in. But
oh my god, that show was on forever. Forever. One time, my kids and I were in a pizza place, and Wings was on TV. Okay, whatever, fine. Because remember, it used to be on USA Network, like non-stop.
All the time. Yeah.
So Wings is on. Whatever. I'm not paying any attention to it. The credits are rolling for the episode, and I notice in my head, because this is the way I work, wow, they're showing the full screen credits. It's not shrunk down to a little tiny box while they're showing a promo for WWF or whatever in the rest of the screen. Interesting. So the episode ends. Next episode starts. Theme song. Clean wipe. Back to it. I'm like, are they playing a DVD of Wings in this restaurant? So I'm like watching, and it's like, yeah. And I asked the guy, Mario behind the counter, are you watching a Wings DVD? He's like, oh yeah, this is a great show, isn't it? Oh. Never went back to that pizza place again.
Good call.
Don't show me Wings while I'm eating pizza, sir. I don't know why. I just no.
Yeah.
No, thank you, Wings.
I'm with you.
And I love Crystal Bernard was in it from It's a Living, which is a show I love, and Amy Yazbek, who I like well enough in Splash 2. But yeah, so Easy A is based on the Scarlet Letter.
Loosely. I mean, of course, it's very, referential to...
Yeah, I was going to say, they reference it
right.
in it.
And she, in fact, talks about the movie adaptations of the Scarlet Letter and, like, the terrible Demi Moore one.
Right.
And,
they even show clips, don't they? Do they, cut to some clips?
From the old movie, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. Like, that's a fun movie, like, just the style of it. She talks to the camera a lot.
It is, yeah. It's clever. I mean, it kind of, devolves into fluff at the end, but that's okay. In
my book, yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, I think it has some, good points to make about, females and sexuality and,
double standards.
Exactly.
It basically boils down to a guy sleeps with a bunch of girls, he's a stud. A girl sleeps with a bunch of guys, she's a slut, or whatever the case is. Or an Easy A.
Right. So, I mean, it's got some good points to make. And it's an enjoyable movie.
Yeah. I need to rewatch that one, too. I'll be busy watching all the movies we talk about tonight. I'll be watching this evening. Do you have another one up your sleeve?
Another one up my sleeve. I mean, I don't know why it seems like so many of these literary adaptations have been made into, like, like teenage movies.
Right.
I mean, 10 Things I Hate About
Yes.
You, based on Taming of the Shrew.
I couldn't tell you a thing about Taming of the Shrew. I assume it's about like a shrew that's out of control. And they put it in a circus or something. I don't know. Is Julia Stiles the shrew?
Right. So she.
Yeah, I get it.
She
Taming of the Shrew.
Right.
So the shrew is an unattractive girl or a less attractive girl.
So in the play, there are two.
Or
sisters.
as Hollywood portrays unattractive girls, a girl with glasses briefly and her hair up.
So right. So. Katerina and Bianca are the sisters, and Katerina is the in the play. She's this very sort of aggressive female, which is bad.
Bad. Do the two girls in the movie have the same name as the book characters?
Yes.
Yes. Taming of the Shrew.
Shakespeare.
Okay.
Correct. I mean, other than sort of the very basic, there's a desirable sister and an undesirable sister. The movie kind of strays away from the goings-ons of the play, but there is sort of that central thing.
Julia Stiles was the unattractive, undesirable is the better way to say it, because they're both pretty girls.
So in the movie, her character is much more aggressive and isn't trying to be liked, and so therefore is not very well liked. And while her younger sister, just wants to be popular and date boys and yada yada.
The other, so it's Julia Stiles, and then the other girl is Larissa Oleynik.
Right.
How old? Well, she's like what? Supposed to be in high school in the movie.
Right. They're both in high school.
Am I allowed to say she's pretty, or is she too young to comment on her age?
You're allowed to. I mean, she was cast as the pretty girl, so of course you can say she's pretty.
She had a very short career. I don't know what happened to her. I liked her a lot. She was on a Nickelodeon show called The Secret Life of Alex Mack.
Right.
You remember these things, or just probably heard me talking about it. I used to like that show, and then she was in that movie, and she did a couple of other movies, and then I don't think she's done anything in a long time.
Not much.
She was the voice of the Swan Princess.
Great. Julia Stiles, I think, is a very good actress.
Yes. Made a lot of good movies, too.
So this movie, 10 Things I Hate About You, I mean, she's good in it. Heath Ledger's very good in it. It
was before he died.
Correct. So the two main characters, I find enjoyable. The rest of the movie, not so much. Everyone else,
love that movie.
Everyone else in the movie is pretty unlikable. And I mean, I know that's part of it. Part of, the whole point of this movie is that, like, all of these popular guys, they're horrible. They're just these horrible, detestable people.
Just like real popular guys in high school.
Right. But it's a little bit hard for me anyway to sit through that movie because everyone is just so unlikable except for the two leads. Thankfully, they kind of save the movie.
Who plays the dad? Who plays their dad?
Oh.
Is it Dick Miller or
what's his name? Larry Miller.
Larry Miller, that's what I thought. Dick Miller. What am I talking about?
Know.
Larry Miller. Yes.
Yeah.
And this movie is similar to She's All That. Like the Rachel Lee Cook character in She's All That is similar.
There are some similarities. That's another one. Another literary adaptation. That one is based more on.
I don't have that one.
That one is based more on Pygmalion.
Okay.
Transforming of a female into the dream girl.
Right. I didn't know The Lion King. Did you know that?
Hamlet.
Of course you do.
Hamlet.
You're smart.
Of course.
Did you go see The Lion King and we're like, oh, this is Hamlet? Like, is that a thing?
I didn't sit there and, sort of put that together at the time.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Hamlet is about a king, right?
It's about a king.
It's about a king, and they live in the jungle, and
yes.
there's a singing bird in it.
Yes, that is exactly what happens.
Here's some other ones I found. She's the Man. Based on... Are you reading my note? Do you know what that's based on?
So that one was the 12th night, right?
Amanda Bynes.
Yeah, before she went insane. Yeah.
True that. I think Channing Tatum or whatever his name is. He's in that too. Didn't see that one. I think I've seen most of the Amanda Bynes filmography, but I never saw She's the Man.
Man, what happened to her?
She went nuts.
She went nuts,
plain and simple. She's rooming with Lindsay Lohan now. They're roommates. And they just tear the apartment. Their apartment looks like the Beast's West Wing. It was like a poster for Mean Girls on the wall, just shred it to bits. That's a good joke right there, and I'm sorry you had to wait 41 minutes to hear some quality content, folks, but that was good. That was a good joke that I just came up with. I'm putting that on my sizzle reel. Okay, so The Lion King was based on Hamlet. Clueless based on Emma. Bridget Jones's Diary based on a load of garbage I took out to the curb last week. No, I don't know why I would say that. I've never seen
Jane
it.
Austen.
That was my mom's absolute favorite modern movie. She loved Bridget Jones's Diary, and I was legit sad when the third one came out and she didn't even live to know about it or whatever. Aww. That was sad.
Yeah.
Still garbage. But yeah, based on Pride and Prejudice.
Right.
I saw Pride and Prejudice and Zombies and I wish I hadn't.
I'm sorry.
Cruel Intentions.
Ah, yes. Dangerous Liaisons.
Which also Dangerous Liaisons was based on Dangerous Liaisons.
Yes.
Now you know why I've seen Dangerous Liaisons.
Yes.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Right.
Which I believe at the time when I was in high school and I went through and watched the entire Michelle... What? God! That was a hard break. Michelle Pfeiffer. I've only been obsessed with her since I was 16 and I completely forgot her name. Michelle Pfeiffer. I believe at the time I had seen every other Michelle Pfeiffer movie, and Dangerous Liaisons was just looming. You have to watch this to complete the set. And it was pretty good.
Which, Dangerous Liaisons or Cruel Intentions?
Dangerous Liaisons is pretty cool. At the time, I loved Cruel Intentions because I am a guy, and it was the first time two girls kissed on the big screen. And went ape nuts for that.
That I feel like hasn't aged very well. I saw that not too long ago, and I was like, oh, this is so bad.
I think there's a series coming out next year with what's her name, Buffy in it.
Okay.
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah, she hasn't worked much, so
we were talking about this earlier. When you say Sarah Michelle Gellar, it really saddens me that every female act their careers just tank when they aren't as hot as they were when they first started or whatever, and
it's
ridiculous.
It's a cruel thing out there.
Where is Sarah Michelle Gellar?
Well, I mean, she deliberately took time off to parent.
Good for her.
So
Scooby-Doo, right? She was parenting Scooby-Doo. I started to watch Scooby-Doo 2 the other day on Netflix too,
so
only
sorry.
because I saw Diary of a Wimpy Kid 4, where Alicia Silverstone takes over the mom role, and I fell in love with Alicia Silverstone. She is so wonderfully adorable and nice and sweet in that movie, and she does that little thing with her lip, and she's just adorable. So then I was all on this big Alicia Silverstone kick, why didn't I watch Clueless? I guess I was looking for something else besides Clueless. And one of the few things that I could find on streaming was Scooby-Doo 2, so I put that on. She is just a news reporter with barely... There's no reason to have a name actress play this part. She's just there, and it's sad. Why? And her name's up in the credits high up because she still had some name recognition, but I think Batman and Robin killed her momentum of her career.
It really did, I think.
We should do a show where we just look at people's IMDb's and see where the bullet is in their career. I find that absolutely fascinating. You could have 20 hit movies and one not necessarily a bomb, but just a real one that just twists the knife in people's people hated Batman and Robin.
Yep.
And that just did it for poor dear Alicia Silverstone. If they made a Clueless 2, still Clueless, I'd be there.
I know you would.
With or without Alicia Silverstone, even if it was the girl from the TV show. But also, I meant to say while we were talking about Steve Martin, holy crap, if they made a Three Amigos return or ride again, I would be at the screening in Hollywood for that. That would be so glorious. What the heck are we doing? Cruel Intentions. 2 girls kissing it. 20 years later, who cares, right? Who made out in that? It was her and Nev.
I don't remember.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Who's in it?
I don't remember.
Ryan Phillippe.
Yeah, he's in it.
Oh, Ryan Phillippe. How about Warm Bodies? Do you remember that film?
I saw that. Yeah.
It was directed by Romeo and Juliet. It was based on Romeo and Juliet, supposedly.
I find that a stretch. I saw that somewhere in a list, and I was like, I don't really buy. I'm not sure who.
I mean, really, don't they accredit anything where it's a guy and a girl wrong side of the tracks? They accredit to Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, obviously, that's a theme that's been mined over and over again. I think that's a stretch for Warm Bodies because there aren't all of the same
right.
things going on there. It's just it's a girl and a zombie.
Girl and a zombie.
I did like that movie though. I enjoyed it.
I didn't. I don't think I saw that.
I enjoyed it. I would recommend it as a kind of
that's
fluffy watch.
What's your favorite movie recommendation? Warm Bodies.
If you're bored.
One day the DVD is gonna come out and this box is gonna say, "I would recommend it, Diana." What's your favorite movie? Well, that's all I found of that. When I looked up highest grossing literary adaptions, it was all Harry Potter, 27 Harry Potter movies, 32 Hobbit films, 96 Twilight films, Hunger Games.
Right. I mean, obviously, as we've said, lots of movies based on books,
right.
but most of them are, not all that mind-blowing of adaptations.
Some of the other high-grossing literary adaptions, some of these you might not realize were based on a book. Well, that's not true. One of them maybe, but Jurassic Park was based on a book, which the movie has completely eclipsed the book ever existing and just being a juggernaut all its own.
I think that was one that actually, boosted book sales for a while because people were definitely interested in reading the book, even if they didn't know about it before the movie came out. Yeah.
I took I think an English class one summer in college, and there was I was on the Tuesday, Thursday course, and there was a Monday, Wednesday, Friday course. We were assigned, the other class was assigned Jurassic Park the year the movie came out. And I was like, whoa, that's awesome. Book assignment, Jurassic Park, whatever. And then we got assigned to The Natural. Anyway, big ups to the movie, but the book's boring. You can use that for any statement, any movie. Jaws is another one that the movie has fairly eclipsed the book ever existing. Right. And then, really, folks, this is where I just get disappointed with the movie-going public. One of the highest-grossing literary adaptations, 2000, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Really? Really? And here's the thing. We'll go off on a little tangent here. Good job of keeping this under a half hour. They're doing another movie version of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This one's a cartoon. The new movie they're doing is a cartoon. Now, here's the thing. 4 Dr. Seuss books have been adapted into feature-length films. The Cat in the Hat, The Grinch, Horton Hears a Who, and The Lorax. So now the people that make the Minion movies, may they rot in hell, are doing 2 Dr. Seuss movies coming up. Dr. Seuss has written 75 books. Yep. They're doing How the Grinch Stole Christmas and then The Cat in the Hat. So of the 75 books that this genius has written, you're going to remake the movies. You're going to remake 2 movies that have already been made. That's how you remake a movie. You're going to make 2 movies of books that have already been done, not to mention that the original How the Grinch Stole Christmas from the 60s is darn well near perfect. Yeah. We don't need another, and if you think about it, that's 25 minutes and the movie's 100 minutes. Did it really need another 50 whatever minutes tacked onto that? Holy smoke. That my math was way off there, but whatever.
Whatever. The point is, they're not adding anything to that particular
garbage. Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe, that was a big thing.
I think everyone is pretty familiar, though, with the fact that
those were saying
books.
They were just some of the higher. But it didn't go off like they made 2 more, I think, and then they stopped. Forrest Gump, I didn't know that was based on a book until I read this up. And a lot of people probably don't know Shrek is based on a book.
I don't know if I knew that one.
It's garbage, folks. I just hate Shrek 2. But too much hate spewing out of me this episode. I apologize, folks. Things I do love. Mean Girls. I like the movie Mean Girls. That was based on a book.
Was it?
I like when they take non-fiction books and make narrative movies out of it.
Right.
Mean Girls is based on a
right.
non-fiction book. Queen Bees and Wannabes, helping your daughter survive cliques, gossip, boyfriends, and other realities of adolescence.
Yep.
There's also a great movie based on the book, Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Sex, but were afraid to ask. That's an old Woody Allen movie. That's great. And then just to wrap up, when we were talking about movies based on books and books and movies and books. Movies and books. You like movies? What am I doing? Did you know Die Hard's based on a book?
That one I did not know at all.
I did not know that. It's just 80 pages of gun shooting. Now,
Yep.
Die Hard, 1987, I want to say, offhand, starring Bruce Willis.
Yes.
Made him a mega star. That is based on a book called Nothing Lasts Forever from 1979, written by, great name, Roderick Thorpe. Roderick Thorpe wrote Nothing Lasts Forever in 1979. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You think, wow, Die Hard was based on a book? That's mighty interesting. The book, folks, get a pen and pencil so you can take notes. The book is a sequel to The Detective, 1966. The Detective was made into a movie in 1968 starring Frank Sinatra. Wow. and Sinatra's contract secured him the role for a sequel. So even though he was 73 when Die Hard was made, they had to offer him the role legitimately, and they couldn't make it without his yay or nay.
Wow.
He decided to pass about rolling around in glass barefoot at age 73. But that's something interesting, don't you think?
It's interesting.
Yeah, and can't you imagine him saying the catchphrase? I don't do a Sinatra impression.
No.
I wouldn't know what that is.
No.
Yippee-ki-yay! No,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
no. No, everybody go back and don't listen to that, please. Ay. Last fun fact for this episode. Die Hard was written by Steven D'Souza, who also wrote Commando. Also one of the 33 credited writers on the Flintstones. Ladies and gentlemen, that is another wonderful episode of What's Your Favorite Movie? The podcast that just keeps on chugging, whether you like it to or not. Diana, I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Oh, I did. Thank you.
Any more movies you want to mention real quick? Just name 3 random movies. Go.
No, thanks.
My turn. Herbie Fully Loaded. That was a good movie. Not based on a book, right? I don't know, 2 other ones. Really liked that new Wimpy Kid film. And the Captain Underpants was actually surprisingly very touching for a movie called Captain Underpants.
Yeah, take your word
In the
for it.
theater. Did you see any big summer blockbusters at all?
I haven't been to the theater in ages.
Since
So
Easy A came out.
no, I've been since then, but
I can't wait for the sequel, Hard B. Wow. That's just sad. All right, folks, that's going to do it for What's Your Favorite Movie. Diana, thank you for coming up and wasting an hour of your precious life with me talking about movies.
hey, thanks for having me.
As always, you're fun to talk to. Folks, we hope you enjoyed the program. Remember, follow us on Twitter at WYFMovie. Help spread the word. If you had fun listening to us chit-chat, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell your neighbor's friends or your friend's neighbors. That might even be better. And you can follow us on Facebook, which I don't even know how to find it on Facebook, but I would assume you just type in What's Your Favorite Movie and it'll come up. And just help us share the word, and we're going to try to get this ship moving once again to charter the sea of movie goodness. Oh, bad Ed South. All right, folks, thanks for watching. Until next time, don't forget, it's khaki wishes and cookie dreams. Bye, Diana.